Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and my page. Happy Monday morning, March 5th. So, I have an exciting story, interesting story I want to talk to you guys about within the context of a broader topic. And this is a topic that I kind of wanted to come and talk to you guys about like a while ago, but I'm like, wait a minute. I have more to add to this. And every time I get ready to do these videos, like I get messages out of nowhere. So hopefully I can get through this video. But y'all, this topic, is going to be a story that I'm going to tell in the context of a broader topic, like I said, about my dating pet peeves, you guys. Like, turnoffs. Like, you talk about a major freaking turnoff, y'all. I have to like go in and tell you guys about this. And feel free to chime in as you may. Sorry, you guys, for the background noise. I am on break at my job, my internship site. So, you guys hear some noise in the background. Just ignore it, okay? Yeah, I don't even know where to begin. I really don't. But, so many things. I don't know. I get turned off so easily, I think. And when it comes to like dating, and who would have known like dating in 2018 would be so interesting, complicated, challenging, like all in the same freaking breath. So I don't even know where to begin, you guys, but let's just start here. So, what's up, Fred? Fred, what's up? Like, dude, I don't even know where to begin. I have so much to say in this video, and I don't want to make this like a super long video, which you guys know that I'm good for. Like, I am infamous for making long videos, but let me go ahead and just get started. So, and I know it's funny because I know the person that I'm about to talk about in this video, like, chances are he's going to see it. So I don't want to make this about like male bashing or anything. That's not what this video is about. I'm not here to bash men, but I am here to kind of point out some things that annoy the hell out of me when it comes to dating. And I'm sure some other women can relate. I know I'm not the only woman that has to experience these freaking odd occurrences of men, and I don't know. So I've been single for, I don't know, probably feels like 6 months by now. I broke up with my ex back in October of 2017. So I just been single and kind of just focused on school. I am like tackling a PhD program. So I'm halfway finished with my PhD program in clinical psychology. So that has been my main focus. But of course, I am a woman in my mid 30s, approaching 35 this year actually. So of course, like, I'm human, I'm a human being. I have my needs and my wants and things like that, just like the average person, average woman. So I figured that, okay, since I'm single, I'll see what's out here on the dating scene, right? I'll see what my options are. And I find it to be quite interesting because the guys that I've been attracting, they've been kind of some weird guys. Now, let me just go ahead and set the record straight. This is the guy I'm about to tell you about. This is the first guy that I've actually gone out on a date with. Like, the guys before, I've been kind of chatting with here and there. We've had phone conversations, but I wouldn't say we've dated. This is a guy like that I'm about to tell you guys about. This is like my first date since my breakup of my last relationship with the guy I was dating previously, who was from New York. And that relationship it lasted 3 years and it ended last year in October. So dating for me, I think, being that I'm kind of stepping into the dating scene very cautious, I have to be cautious. And I get asked this question all the time, like, why are you so protective? Why are you so cautious? And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. With my profession that I'm in, I'm training to become a doctor. I can't, like, I've worked too hard to risk anything, risk losing something because I'm involved with some idiot, right? So yes, of course, I have to take precautions. I have to be very careful, So although I've chatted and met, like, I met a handful of guys, just a range of guys, from defense attorneys. I told you guys about the defense attorney I was talking to, police officers, LAPD police officers, and can't even talk straight. it's a range of guys, like, of course, I have my preferences when it comes to what I like, in a guy, and he has to be working. He has to have gainful employment, and a decent income. I think that that's important to me. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, money isn't important." No, money is important, and I always make an issue and I make a deal about it, when it comes to dating. Like, I don't want to date no bums. So, yes, of course, the guys I've been chatting with, I've been kind of talking to, they are more in the corporate world, or they're professionals, and they have decent incomes. And so this guy that I'm talking to, he is a corporate attorney. He is white. He's not black, but he said that he was born in Egypt, in Cairo, Egypt. I don't know if that really makes a difference. So technically he's African, but his skin color is white. He's a corporate attorney. He's lived most of his life out here in LA, y'all. So he's, I guess, a typical LA guy. I don't know. And he's successful, I guess, by society standards, right? So I remember when we first met, like, he was telling me about where he lives. I live in Hollywood, so he also lives in Hollywood, but he lives in the hills. And he was like telling me about his house and, how it's up in the hills, and it's just this nice, fancy house. And I'm like, okay. He talks a lot about being that he's a corporate attorney, and not only that, but he's an investor, so he works with billionaires, and he talks a lot about money. Now, granted, you guys who know me know that I talk about money too, right? I talk about, of course, investing and, owning a business. I talk about money from that perspective, like it being a business owner and self-employed, but he's more of an investor, so he's like a little bit higher up, on the rank. When it comes to, I guess, finances and wealth. And I don't know. I think that's one of the pet peeves I guess I have with this guy, because he talks about money all the time. And I'm like, that can be so annoying. So I'm going to tell you guys about our date, because this was our second date. Our first date was like a week ago. This is our second date. And I don't know if you guys, saw the Oscars, but the Oscars was last night. And he invited me to come over to his place. Being there was my first time coming to his place in the hills to watch the Oscars. I'm like, okay, cool. Now, this is how, yesterday was kind of weird, you guys. Yesterday was Sunday, right? And I was just sitting at home, just chilling, kind of really want to be by myself. So I get a message from him, and he's like, this is like 11 o'clock yesterday morning. He's like, do you want to, actually, he didn't even ask me. He was just like, let's just meet up for lunch around 1 o'clock. So this is at 11 o'clock. So he's giving me like a 2-hour kind of heads up, right? Which I didn't feel like it was a sufficient amount of time, because I'm like, dude, you just messaging me at 11 o'clock asking me to meet up with you in a couple hours. So my response was, I don't really feel like talking to anybody. I feel like just being alone for today. And after that, he sent a message. He was like, okay, have a great day. So after that, I mind my business, y'all. Y'all, this is going to be good. So y'all stay tuned, because I'm telling y'all, it gets good, y'all. So I kind of got a feeling that maybe he would get offended by it, because he's the kind of guy, he has to have things his way. He's used to getting things his way, I guess, because of his status, in society. So he feel like, okay, I got money. I can get what I want when I want it. And so, I don't know, I'm kind of a woman that I think I kind of have a similar personality. He mentioned that last night. He was like, our personalities are kind of the same in a way, because you are a woman, I guess, who knows who you are. And I don't know, just have to have things a certain way, right? So I knew that he kind of would get upset, but I didn't think he would be that upset. So after I he sent that message, and I just kind of went my separate way for the remainder of the day. And I actually kind of took a nap. And I was just chilling, lounging around the house, really not really doing nothing, I was just kind of enjoying my weekend, right? My Sunday off. And so I woke up right from my nap. I messaged him, and I was just like, what are you doing? I feel like I feel like I wanted to check in with him to see, okay, what is going on with this guy? Because, for me to send a message saying that I kind of want to be left alone, it could go either way, right? Like somebody can interpret that as, okay, she doesn't want to be bothered with me, or she's having a personal thing going on that, that something is affecting her, right? That she just wants to be left alone. But my thing is this, I feel like I don't know, my perspective is this. If he was really concerned about me, he would have asked me, okay, what's going on with you? He didn't even make an attempt to try to explore what was behind my message. He was just like, okay, hope you have a good day. And I'm like, dude. So I think he immediately got upset because he had thought that my initial response was going to be, okay, let's meet up. Like, I guess it was beforehand. But even then, I still had some hesitation. Like, when we first met, like, over a week ago, I had hesitation. I was like, I don't feel comfortable meeting guys at night. I feel like it's really inappropriate, to meet at night. I want to meet during the daytime. That's when I feel most comfortable. And so after we met, like, he's like, so what is it like now? Now that you met me, you do you still have those reservations? Do you still feel that same way about meeting, me at night? And I'm like, well, kind of, because I work in the mornings. I have school, I have class, like I do things during the day. So I want to get enough sleep so that I'm well rested and, and it's not affecting my day or whatever. I don't want to be hanging out all night with somebody and then like, oh, I only get 3 hours of sleep and then I'm like hating myself the next day. So my priorities, my life comes first. Yes, dating is something that, of course I want to date. I'm a human being. I'm a woman, you guys. I'm a sexual being as well. But at the same time, I'm like, I have priorities that were there before, this situation. So that comes first. And he should know that, right? Like, he's a successful guy. Like, he works and his schedule, of course, looks different than mine, but he still understands the concept of working. So, like, I'm pretty sure he gets that. But for some reason, like, the way he responded to my lack of, I guess, I just wasn't going with the flow, right? I was just pretty much being resistant. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to give him what he wants, because I feel like that is a big problem with women, and especially like in relationships. Like, a lot of times men just think they can have their cake and eat it too and get what they want when they want it. And I'm the kind of woman, like, I'm not going to give a man what he wants all the time. Most of the time, yeah, but it just depends. Like, it's an ebb and flow to it. So my thinking was, I'm going to take some time to myself and, just, I don't know, spend time to myself. But then I woke up, I think I went to sleep. The nap is what did it, you guys. Sorry, you guys, I'm taking like forever. I know you guys have shit to do. So sorry, it takes me a while to tell the story, but I'm still kind of processing it in my mind myself. Like, this just happened yesterday. So after taking my nap, I think the nap is what did it. Like, I woke up from my nap and I felt a little different. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing? And he was like, I'm watching the Oscars. It was like, you're free to come over if you want. I'm like, So he's inviting me to his place. Not that he didn't plan on inviting me, because after, like, the first day we met, he had already invited me to his place and was like, I want you to come and check out my place. So yesterday when he sent me the message, he was like, you can come over. And I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking it was around 6 o'clock. And I'm thinking, by the time I take a shower and by the time I get over there, it's going to be probably like 7 o'clock, because, it takes me a while, to get dressed. And then, you guys know I don't have a car. So I do take public transportation, but I wasn't going to take no freaking bus to get to his place. I wasn't going to walk because, number one, I live in Hollywood. So I live like in the flatland part. He lives like in the hills. So it's crazy, like, even getting to his place. So I knew I wasn't gonna walk there. And I'm like, he didn't want to, I guess, leave his place because he was already watching the Oscars. And I kind of put two and two together. I'm like, he's doing more than just watching the Oscars. I'm pretty sure, like, he's had some drinks, because otherwise he would have came and picked me up. He doesn't live that far from where I live. Like, he can get to my place in like 10 minutes. But, being that it is like I live in the neighborhood, like right where they filmed the Oscars. I live like right there. So they blocked everything off. Everything on Hollywood Boulevard was blocked off. They rerouted traffic. So you had to go like pretty much all the way around just to get to where you wanted to go. Like if you're trying to pass through Hollywood Boulevard, that was blocked off. So it added an extra, I would say, 10 minutes to my commute. So he was like, how about you just take a Lyft, right? And he was like, I'll pay for it. I'm like, okay, cool. You're offering to pay, and I would like to go check out his place. He claims he lives in the hills, right? So I'm like, okay, let's see if this is really true. So I went ahead and did it, right? I agreed to meet him at his place. What's up, Andre? I agreed to meet him at his place. And you guys, I called the Lyft. Riding in the Lyft, it was like, okay, it felt like forever getting there because I'm be riding around all these barricades. They got everything blocked off. I think they were actually breaking down the set for the Oscars because they had already filmed the Oscars. When you guys saw it last night, I believe it was already filmed. They said it was live, and I'm like, I don't know how live it was because when I passed by it at the time that they were shooting it, at the time that it was airing, on television, it looked like they were breaking down sets and they just didn't want any traffic interfering with that. So I don't know how live it was that you guys saw. But so I get in the Lyft, right? We're driving around. We had to take a detour and we finally get like on Sunset Boulevard because he lives in a neighborhood called Sunset Plaza. So it is up in the hills and, we're riding and I'm like, it was kind of weird because, of course, I've been in the hills before. Like, I've been through different parts of LA that have the hills. So they have, like, different neighborhoods in LA. And they have, like, a lower level, and they have the upper level where you can see nice views of the city or whatever. So he lives, like, in one of those neighborhoods that is elevated. And we're going up, and you guys, I'm going, like, riding in that Lyft, going up to his place. I felt like I was, like, going on an adventure. I'm like, when are we ever going to get there? We just kept going up and up and up. And, like, I swear that ride from the street level all the way through the hills and up to the top, like, it felt like forever. But we finally get there. And I looked at my phone. I noticed, like, shit, I have no reception, you guys. There's absolutely no reception up there. And so I'm like, how the hell is this going to work? So the Lyft driver's like, is this it? I'm like, I don't know. You tell me. I'm like, tell me, does the Lyft app tell you that we are here? It was like, yeah, it's showing that we're here. And so I look and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to look for an address. But if you guys been in the hills, you know how some of those houses are. Like everything is like inconspicuous. So they want everything to be kind of hidden. So, people who are, I guess, just passing by, you really don't know where the hell your ass at. You're going to get lost. So you can't really see addresses. And you got hedges hiding the house. So you can't really see the house. Because I know what his house looked like, from a picture he sent me. But I'm like, okay, I really can't see it from the view that the picture that he showed me was more like from the backside of the house that's facing the city, the overview of LA. So it wasn't the street view. So I'm looking like, okay, can't really tell because it's like hedges. Like everything is covered. His house is literally hidden behind like hedges, I guess, and bushes and trees. And it's like, okay, where's his house? But it was it. We arrived at his house, and then I saw that there was this box, this call box, I guess, that you can use to buzz. And so I buzzed, I pressed a button, and then he came out, and I'm like, okay, wow. And when I walked into his house, like, I was literally blown away. I'm like, okay, this is really nice. It's a beautiful house. Very nice house, you guys. I'm going to try to make this a little bit more concise because I know I'm taking forever, you guys. I know you're like, get to the point. I'm trying, y'all. I'm just trying, but I'm just walking you guys. I'm giving you guys like the whole full story, all the details and everything, okay? So just bear with me. So I get inside and like, wow, I'm just like blown away. I'm like, this is freaking nice. And as soon as like I step in, I can see the view of the city. Like I'm looking out because his houses are like, I would say majority of it is like windows, right? So surrounded by windows, and you can look out and see all this freaking shit, the hills and other homes that are in the neighborhood, and it's just beautiful. Now, mind you guys, this is at nighttime, so this is a nighttime view. And I'm blown away. I think I'm so blown away that it makes me a little bit nervous because I'm like, okay, you guys know that I am in the BDSM lifestyle, so I am a submissive and I like the whole power dynamic, power exchange aspect of BDSM. So immediately when I'm walking in, I'm sitting in his, inviting me to come in and sit down. I'm like, immediately I think it did something to me. It kind of, that whole power exchange, it kind of immediately took effect, you guys. So immediately I felt something like in my body, like I felt myself lose a little bit of my power, like magically, and it just went to him, I guess. I don't know. And so I'm sitting down and on his couch, and I'm not comfortable though. Although I can feel myself losing a little bit of my power, right, and giving it to him subconsciously. I'm still a little bit nervous because this is my first time here. I'm still getting to know this guy. So I didn't get too comfortable on the couch. Like, I didn't sit back in the chair, like on the couch. I was just kind of sitting, on the edge. And I still have my purse, like, across my shoulder. And I'm just like, okay. I'm just kind of quiet, you guys. Like, I'm quiet. So I'm watching TV. The Oscars is on. And I'm speechless, you guys. I don't know what to say. And so something weird kind of happened with his connection because he uses a different type of streaming service so we can watch the Oscars. So something happened. He had to find out, what it was. He ended up fixing the connection. I'm watching the Oscars, and it's a pretty good show. Like, I enjoyed the part where I came in, because I came in at the part where Tiffany Haddish was presenting the award, and I'm like, okay, they got some black presenters. Like, it felt like it was more diverse than it was in the previous years. So, I began to take interest into watching the Oscars, by the time I reached his place. I didn't miss all of it. I didn't miss, like, the first half of it. And I saw when the screenwriter of the movie Get Out, he actually received an award. He won Best Screenplay. So I thought that was kind of cool. But then you think about the nature of Get Out, and I'm like, I don't know if that's really good that he got an award for that. But that's a whole nother story. So, make a long story short, we're watching the Oscars, and he offers me some cheese. It's like, you want some cheese? And I'm like, okay, where is he? I already know where he's going. It's like, with cheese comes crackers, and with that comes wine, right? Like, that's just the traditional thing, right? So he offers me. I'm like, what kind of cheese you got? And he was like, what kind of cheese? He is a big jokester. He's trying to, like, use sarcasm or whatever, like, trying to be a dick, right? So he was like, what do you mean, what kind of cheese? Is cheese? I'm like, dude, it's different kinds of cheeses. Like, what kind of cheese are you trying to offer me? He was like, well, I have this blue cheese, and then I have this other kind of cheese that's from some kind of country, da da da. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. So he cuts me some cheese up, and crackers or whatever, and I'm eating it. And wait, let me rewind. So before this, you guys, he gives me a tour. So before he offers me the cheese and the crackers, like, he takes me on a tour of his place. It's really nice. Like, it's a really nice house. Like, multi-million-dollar home. I like it. It's in the hills. Like, he's telling me about, like, the designs in his house and how he designed the kitchen, and he designed different parts of the house. I'm like, okay, cool. All of this is nice, right? But there's always a but, right? Like, I'm looking for the but, I'm like, okay, all this is nice. Okay, it's good that you're a corporate lawyer. It's good that you're an investment, whatever you want to call it, person. You invest in different ventures and stuff that are worth, like, multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar investments. But I'm like, that's all good and all, but what something else. It has to be a but, right, to it. So the whole night, I think I'm just looking forward to the but. Like, what? It has to be something wrong, right? So, I took the tour, and the house was nice, and then, he invited me to come sit at the island in the kitchen, so you can have the cheese, and he offered me some wine. I'm like, okay, what kind of wine is this? So he pours me a glass of wine, and I sip it, and I'm like, this shit is strong. I'm like, what is in this wine? And then he's like, no, it's just wine. It's just like most wine. Most wine is pretty strong. I don't know any wine that's not, that doesn't have a strong alcohol content. I'm like, well, most wine is about 12% and up. That wine, I looked at it, I was like, okay, it was like 12%. Not bad because my Pinot Grigio is around about that. But I taste it. I'm like, dude, this is kind of strong. I don't know what kind of wine, but it's pretty strong for 12%. So I'm sipping it and I'm feeling relaxed and everything. And then he makes himself a dirty martini. And now, you guys, like the first time we met at the Roosevelt Hotel in the lobby area, which is pretty much walking distance from where I live. And he had a dirty martini. He actually had a couple. And I'm like, okay, what is this guy with dirty martinis, right? I'm thinking like, okay, it's nice to have a drink, we meet someone. But for me, my preference is not to drink. Like, I'm just different. So I'm not really big on drinking or doing drugs like the first day like you meet somebody, or when you get, even in the period of getting to know someone, So I felt like it was kind of awkward that, okay, he wants to drink. And not only that, but he had like several drinks, and the dirty martini is pretty strong, so it's like straight liquor just mixed together. That's pretty much what he had. It was like vodka, like just straight liquor. And so he's drinking it, and I'm just like, okay. I'm watching him, because that's just what I do. I can't help it, you guys. Although, like, yes, I am a psychologist in training. And I've been in the mental health field for a lot of years, over like 10 years, close to 15 years. So I don't know. I'm used to just observing people's behavior. I think I do a great job at it. So I'm watching this guy. He's drinking the alcohol. He's sipping it, but he's drinking it, because I'm like, damn. I'm looking at his face and how he sips it, but it has no effect on his face. He does it like he's a pro at it, right? So I'm like, okay. So the Oscars, okay, is still going, right? And eventually the Oscars ends, and he comes over to the couch to sit next to me, y'all. Now this is it. this is where I'm going to get into my pet peeves, you guys. Oh, gosh, I feel like bad for saying this. I don't know why. I feel bad for telling you guys this, but I feel like I can help. If I can help somebody, I'm going to tell you guys this. So I had to keep it real. I feel like you guys are the ones I can keep it with. Andre is laughing. I'm about to go in, y'all. But I feel bad, but I don't know, you guys. Maybe I should just tell him how I feel, right? Instead of just coming to talk to you guys about it. But you guys know this is what I do. Like, I do vlogs. So this is just part of me. He knows that I vlogs. And he even said last time, he was like, so I wonder what your next vlog is going to be about. Like, he knows that I vlog. So forgive me if I'm wrong, if you're watching this, but I have to keep it real. And so he's sitting next to me on the couch, y'all, and not just sit next to me, right? Now, he didn't even give a good, respectful distance. I felt like he sat a little bit too close. And so he's sitting next to me, and I guess he's feeling comfortable. He's feeling himself because he's drinking something a little bit stronger than me. So he kind of in his little mood or whatever, right? And then I'm noticing, like, as he's talking to me, he's, like, touching my leg. He's touching my arms. I'm like, okay. I kind of like touch, right, when it's used appropriately, and it's timed right. And I'm thinking, like, okay, a few touches here and there, right, is okay. This is, like, the beginning part of a date. So you're just getting to know a woman, right? But I felt like he was doing it a little bit too much. He was, like, I felt his hands like on my legs. And granted, you guys, I'm gonna tell you guys how I was dressed. Like, I was dressed very conservatively, as I'm always dressed. So I'm always wearing like my jeans or pants. I had on a dress, but it was one of those long dresses that covered all the way down past my knees, right? So I'm dressed very conservative. And then I was wearing this jacket. So I think he had a problem with the jacket because he was like, you still wearing that jacket and you've been here like over an hour. I was like, yeah, but it feels warm and I feel comfortable in it. And, I took off my purse. So come on now. What do you want me to take off next? So I'm like, I get it, you guys. I'm not born yesterday. Okay. I'm 34 years old. I'm not born yesterday. So I get the picture. I understand what was going on. I understand what was in his mind. Right. And so we're talking. And then after the Oscars goes off, like, he's flipping through the TV trying to find something to watch. And I noticed that he scrolled past the movie 50 Shades Free. So he has this app that has all these new movies that are still out in theater. And so he, he puts it on and we're watching it. And he's asking me, like, what do you like so much about the movie, right? And I'm telling him, what gets me turned on about BDSM. and the whole 50 Shades Freed. Like, I'm trying to explain it to him, and I think he gets it, but he's trying to put himself, I guess, somewhere in the picture. So he's trying to make a connection between my interest in BDSM and how he fits into the picture, right? Considering, you guys, I think this is it. Considering, I think he realizes that he's not as dominant as he thought, especially in terms of the way I see dominance, right? He's still trying to like wrap his mind around who I am and what I like. And so I'm just gonna have to give it to you guys straight. You guys, this is one of my biggest pet peeves, right? Because granted, yes, I tell people, I'm in the lifestyle. I consider myself a submissive, right? And a masochist. But just because a woman says she's a submissive does not mean that she submits to every man, number one. And it doesn't mean that she's going to submit to a man just right off the bat. That's not what submission is all about. This all happens in the context of a relationship that is built on trust, first of all, right? So he's trying to figure out, okay, what is it about BDSM that I like? Is it the aggression? Is it a man taking control? He's trying to figure out how that's going to look for him, because he has all of these investments, all this money, and he's worried about, he told me this last night. He's like, I'm kind of concerned about the repercussions, he's like, I have no problem being dominant because I'm a dominant person. I have a dominant personality, but I'm worried about the repercussions. I'm worried about how it's going to play out and if something could go wrong. I'm like, dude, that to me is a turnoff. Like that's a turnoff, you guys. I get his transparency. I get his openness, right? Like communication is so important. But for a guy to be so hesitant, like doms are careful. I think a good respectful dom, which is short for dominant man, in the context of BDSM. A good dom, yes, he cares about his submissive's needs, right? He cares about her concerns and her worries and whatever, concerning her. That's his focus. But to be overly concerned, and not only that, I think that he was just, I don't know. I'm not used to that. Like, I'm used to coming across men, especially men who are real doms. Like, yeah, those things are something that you take into consideration, but it's not something that you put so much emphasis on to the point where it impairs your ability to have a relationship with this person. It impairs your ability to be able to, create a DS type of dynamic between you and that person. And he's so like, usually I think it's more the submissive that is more guarded and has all these reservations and concerns, but he's telling me these things, and he's like, I want to be this way with you. I want to be firm. I want to set limits and controls with you. I want to, administer discipline, But I'm like, he's like, I'm afraid. I'm like, okay, is he trying to use this as reverse psychology, or is he really? And then I'm kind of getting a sense like, okay, he is kind of, I think he's not really afraid, but I think unsure of himself. That's what I picked up, you guys. And that, to me, is another pet peeve. Like, when a guy is insecure, and I sense insecurity, like, you know how dogs can smell fear? Like, I can sense that shit in human beings, like, instantly. Like, when a person is afraid or when a person is insecure themselves, like, I can sense, they don't have to say they're insecure, but I can pick it up. There's so many ways I can pick that up, non-verbally from a person. Just looking at their body language, and I'm watching him, and I'm like, this is happening consistently, like, throughout our discussions, where he'll say something, right, that he thinks, I guess, is absurd, and then he'll, like, put words in my mouth and say, oh, I bet you're thinking that this guy is an asshole. Like, he said that several times. And to me, that is so annoying, right? He'll be like, I'm trying to think of a good example, something that he said. And I didn't necessarily think that he was an asshole. He was stupid for saying it. But he keeps constantly saying that, like, oh, I bet you're thinking I'm an asshole. And I'm like, dude. Okay, the first time he said it, I'm like, it was a joke, right? I laughed. But over and over, and that's the thing, like, last night he said that. After he said that, I said, no, why do you think that? Like, I don't think that you're an asshole. So why do you think that I think you're an asshole? He was like, well, actually, I don't think that you think I'm an asshole. I think I'm just saying this to lessen your anxiety to make you feel more comfortable around me. And I'm like, dude, no, that's not what it is. Like, you can't try to analyze the situation and tell me what something is as if I don't know. Like, as if I don't know how to, like, come on, this is what I do. Hello, like, I analyze behavior all day, every day. This is what the fuck I do. So you can't sit up here and try to, like, I hate when people, they try to play you as if you don't know any better, And I'm like, he should know that I know better. Like, but I think he's so much into himself and what he does, like, he doesn't take into account that, dude, I study human behavior. I analyze it. Like, this is what I do. So I know when a person is putting up their own defenses, to make themselves feel better. Oh my gosh, you guys. Sorry for the background noise. Like I said, I am at work. Gosh. Just tune it out. But let me try to finish this up because I'm on break right now. But you guys, I'm like, I know when a person is trying to put up their defenses, because basically what he did, he attacked himself before I did, in a sense. A person, if they sense that a person is going to do something to them, they will more likely do it to themselves first to beat the person doing it to them. So they don't feel as bad. Let's say if I was to think of him as an asshole and say that to him, then he's already sabotaged himself. So the threat of me saying something like that to him is not going to be as big, or as impactful, because he's already said it to himself. If that makes sense, you guys. That's a defense mechanism that people use often, and it's seen often even in the context of a therapy session. So when he says that to me, you guys, and he's like, well, I'm just saying this because I want to make you feel comfortable. I'm like, this dude is not as bright as he says he is. So that's that, you guys. Another thing that leads me to remember, like, another thing that he kept saying. He said this over and over and over again. He's like, I graduated at the top of my class, and when I was younger, I got tested. I took an IQ test, and they determined that I ranked really high, and I have exceptional intelligence. And I'm like, okay. When he first told me that, I'm like, okay, that's good, because considering, like, right now I'm in the process of studying psychological assessments, neurological assessments, and within that category is intelligence tests. So I'm like, okay, you think that you have exceptional cognitive functioning. I think that's good. But then, of course, you guys know I'm always like analyzing things, right? So I'm looking at the big picture. Now, he says that, and granted, he did graduate from a very prestigious law school, and I mean, I've seen it. I've seen the proof. Everything that he's told me has been true. But for him to say that, like, he said it over and over again, you guys. He said, like, oh, I have a high IQ. I'm very smart, right? He keeps saying that. Y'all don't know, like, how bothersome that is. Like, that is, to me, that's another pet peeve. I'm so annoyed by that. And granted, you guys, I take pride in intelligence. I like to be around smart people. I consider myself to be a well-educated, wise person. But y'all, I've never been around somebody that is so fucking self-centered, and it's not in a good way. I think there's different types of so-called narcissistic personalities, right? And it can work towards someone's advantage, by being self-centered in certain aspects. Because sometimes you have to be self-centered, especially if you're running a business or, you are doing something that requires you to really focus on yourself. It can be, definitely important, but at the same time, for a person to always talk about, like, dude, I can't even count how many times he said, I'm smart. He said that phrase so many times, like, I'm smart. I have a high IQ. I've been tested. And they determined, now, this is the funny thing part, you guys, because he says that he fell within the 50th percentile prank, right? Now, anybody knows 50th percentile is really not that significant. Like, it's not that high, right? Like, if anything, you want to be more like in the 80th or 90th percentile. That means that you scored better than 90% of the people in your demographic group, you know? But for him, like, he is bragging about 50%. I'm like, 50%, dude, all that means that you scored better than 50% of the people. That also means that you scored worse than 50% of the people in the population. So I don't think you're that smart. I didn't say that to him, but I'm thinking that in my mind, like, this dude has to be a freaking joke. And then on top of that, you guys, this is all happening in the context of him drinking. So he's had, at this point, like 3 martinis, right? And I'm like, how many times is this dude going to say he's smart? He keeps saying that. Like, is that going to make me fall in love with him or open my legs? Like, what is the intent? What is his intent in saying that? He said borderline. He's something. I don't want to call him narcissistic, but I'm like, dude, what the hell, you know? What is it that he needs? I'm trying to figure this out. Like, what is it that he's lacking? That he has to overemphasize his cognitive abilities, right? He's like, I work with billionaires. Like, I'm always having to analyze and make decisions for billionaires when they're, when they are settling their investment deals and working through their investment deals that involve, like, multi-million dollars, a lot of money, right? It's like, I'm in the middle of all of that, and I'm the go-to guy. They come to me he's saying this, you guys. It's like, they come to me for answers on how to resolve their conflicts, and sometimes they don't know how to work things out. So I'm the go-to guy. I'm the person that comes in and works everything out, and settles the deal, help them settle the deal, right? I'm like, okay, that's good, but I don't know, like, how many times do he have to tell me that? You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. How many times does he have to emphasize that? To me, it becomes annoying. He said it like last night. Okay, we spent maybe 2-3 hours together, and he said that shit like at least 4 times. I'm like, how many times is he gonna say it? And then not only that, it's like every time we meet, he brings it up. I'm like, dude, do you forget that you've already told me that? Like, do you forget that you've told me what you actually do for a living, and what you're actually in the middle of the process of doing now? He's told me that he and his partner is in the process of buying this multi-million-dollar building downtown. They're going to convert it. I'm like, okay, good for you. When he first told me, I'm like, okay, that's exciting. That sounds, really fun and challenging at the same time, But he's telling me this shit over and over again, y'all. I'm like, okay, dude, if you don't... Unless there's a new development to the story, why the fuck are you telling me this shit? Why are you bringing it up? I don't mind having a conversation because I find it to be very interesting, to talk to people who are engaged and involved in investments like that, of that nature. But I'm like, dude, unless there's a new development, like, unless there's something new that happened where, okay, you guys closed the deal or something else has happened, like, why are you telling me this shit over and over again? I think it does... It's not so much of communication, like, it's not really moving our conversation any further. I think for him, it serves he's stroking his ego, I think every time he says that, he strokes his own ego, which means there has to be a deficit in his psyche somewhere that he needs to bring that up all the time, like, he talks about how smart he is and all these different business deals, investment deals that he has going on at the same time, and his house, like, you guys, I mean, nothing wrong with show and tell, right? If a person is proud of their accomplishments, okay, show it and tell it. But I feel like a lot of times what you do will speak for itself. So, I was at his house and he showed me this book. Can't tell you guys the name of the book, but it's like, you guys ever saw one of those home design books that have, like, the whole book basically consists of designs of homes, and it talks about the history of the home and who it was designed by, and has pictures of these, like, really nice multi-million-dollar homes. It's actually like a hardcover book. He has, like, several of those, like, on his coffee table in the living room. And, like, one of them, he showed it to me. He was like, look, my house is in that book. Because, like, turn to page, XYZ. And I turned to the page. I'm like, okay, boom. His house was in the book. great. I think that's nice. But like, dude, he said that shit so many times. He told me that the last time we met. He was like, my house is in this book. So I guess he actually wanted to show me the book, right? I'm like, good for you. But I don't know. I feel like it's just annoying to me. I'm about to wrap this video up, you guys. But I feel like that to me is so annoying because I ask myself, why? Like, why is he telling me this when he's already told me it? And what does that do for me? I mean, at the end of the day, like, all this stuff is good, but if it's not going to impact me in any way, why are you telling me this, you know? And so that was that. And then, you guys, like I said, after the Oscars went off, you know, he put on 50 Shades Freedom and we're watching it. He's trying to figure me out, and he's like all close. And y'all, this is the thing right here, you guys. He was up in my face. Like, dude was like literally bam. I'm like, dude, is it because you are drunk? You're under the influence? You don't realize how close like you are to my face? And not only that, but he asked, like, he leaned in for a kiss several times, you guys. Now, I don't mind kissing because it was like, dude, you don't like kissing, do you? I was like, I do. But, like, dog, he was on my face. Like, he tried to give me so many kisses, dog. Like, he gave me, like, we kissed so much last night. I'm like, dude, all these kisses, like, I don't know. I'm just feeling kind of awkward. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there, you guys. Like, granted, he was drinking. Like, he had alcohol breath. You know, and I may sound picky, you guys, but this is some real shit. Like, my ex, who I dated, who was from New York, like, he was a drinker. I didn't really disclose that and in my videos before, like, as much, but I have to say this to put things into context so you guys can understand where I'm coming from. Like, being that he was a drinker and we had, like, so many issues surrounding his drunkenness, and I'm not even going to go there. That's a whole nother freaking story. I think it triggers something in me when I smell alcohol on a person's lips. And so he's in my face and he's like, he has that alcohol breath. And I'm like, ugh. Like, it reminded me of my ex. And I'm just like, turn off. You know, it's a turn off in so many different ways, right? I think the most important way is that I link the smell of alcohol on a guy's breath, okay, with insecurity and with, you know, mental illness. There's something wrong, you know? It's one thing when you have a person who drinks. Like, we're all adults, right? So we all have our little, you know, drinks on whatever your preference is. You know, I have my Pinot Grigio here and there, but I'm not an alcoholic. There's a difference, you know? And I felt like I'm kind of seeing some things in this guy that remind me of my ex, and the fact that it seems like he doesn't have control over his drinking. And he mentioned that last night. He was like, oh, it's not that I'm alcoholic. I drink to relieve stress. And when a person says that they drink to relieve stress, I'm like, dude, this guy not, like, did he freaking forget that I'm training to become a psychologist? Like, that means a lot. That means that my perspective on a lot of things is much different than the average person, you know? So, of course, I'm going to have a higher sensitivity to certain things, you know, that a person may say that the average person may be like, oh, they may blow it off. I'm like, big deal. I drink too. But I'm like, okay, you drink to relieve stress. Tell me more. Like, I want to know more, because I have to, first of all, make sure that I'm not dating an alcoholic. I tell myself, never again. I cannot date an alcoholic, y'all. That's just a nightmare, you know? Because it's not a fair situation. The relationship is just not fair. It's imbalanced. And you find yourself just like, what is this, you know? So I'm kind of getting the impression that this guy is an alcoholic. Because the first time we hung out, he wanted to meet at a bar. I'm like, okay, big deal, because Hollywood is full of bars. So it's just a public space to meet, right? Big deal. And so, you know, like I said, the first time, you know, we met at the Roosevelt, and, you know, he got martinis. I'm like, okay. And then from there, I felt like it was just too loud. So he took me to this French restaurant down the street. And he had more martinis. I'm like, okay. I don't know what to make of this, but, you know, I know that people do drink socially, as they say, but you can determine if a person's a social drinker or if they have a problem with alcohol. I don't want to date somebody who has a problem with drugs. I'm just sorry. That's just my bias. That's just me. you know? And I'm kind of getting the sense that he does have an issue with alcohol, because even when I got to his place, you guys, and like he was pulling out the cheese and the crackers, and he initially pulled out, the wine, and then he pulled out his bottle of alcohol that he was getting to make his drink with, and it was like big as hell, you guys. That shit was a huge ass bottle, and then he made a joke. He was like, "This is just for today," and I laughed, and I'm like, ha ha ha, but like, dude, don't play like that. You get what I'm saying? Because my ex was I hate to bring up my ex, but he reminds me kind of him in that respect, because he can go through bottles in one day, and it's not a good thing to see a person go through alcohol like that. You get what I'm saying? Like, I've lived through that shit for 3 years, and it's not a fun feeling. And I don't know. That's just it, you guys. Like, the whole bragging about himself, all the time saying how smart he is, and, all this money he's working with, it sounds good and all, but like, how does it impact me? And then he's just so close in my face with his alcohol breath. That is a freaking turn off. And then him being insecure. It's just like, I don't want to say I'm completely turned off by this guy, because there's certain things that I do like. So it wasn't all bad, you guys. I have to admit that he is a gentleman. When we went out, he opened every single door. I touched no door when we were out. Like, he is very, he caters to my needs and, my wants. And I think that's great. He's very respectful, like, you have guys that don't just, respect is out the window when it comes to relating to a woman, but he's very like old school with it and old fashioned. So he's very, respectful towards, me as a woman, which I appreciate. But he has his own character flaws. I'm thinking about this. I'm like, okay, I know everybody has issues, right? I know I have my own problems, right? But I feel like going into a relationship, you have the right to choose what you want to deal with in a relationship. If that's something that you want to deal with, or if it's something that you don't want to deal with. I'm thinking like, is alcoholism, excuse me guys, I'm thinking like, is alcoholism something I want to deal with in a relationship with a guy, a person that drinks? Because I feel like it takes away from the relationship. What do you guys think? Feel free to comment below. But I feel like when you're dating a person who drinks all the time, it literally does take away from the quality and the depth of the relationship that you have with that person, because they're always intoxicated. And so how do you know what they say to you is really how they feel, or if it's the alcohol? Like, he's all over me last night. He's like, oh, you're so fine, and you're this and you're that. And granted, I know who I am. I value and pride myself for being a beautiful African-American woman. It's very strong. But I just feel like I need something more authentic. I need to be in a relationship with someone who I know is sober, and when they speak, they're speaking from a clear, sober mind, and not some convoluted, fucking drunken mind that you're just talking out the side of your ass, and then you're like, oh, that's not how I really feel. Like, I was drunk. And I'm like, no, I need to make sure this is what it is. But I mean, again, after that, I ended up coming back home late. It wasn't that late, actually. It was like, I left his house probably like at 10:45, because I wanted to make sure that I got back so I could get my sleep, because I had to get up in the morning and come here to my internship site. And so I woke up this morning to a text message from him, and he's like, good morning, beautiful. Have a great day. So he's so sweet in that respect, but you guys, the alcohol is a huge turnoff. Like, that's the alcohol breath, and you all in my face. I'm thinking like, dude, not only that, like, we had blue cheese. I ate blue cheese too, so it leaves like this tart smell in your mouth. You eat blue cheese, and I'm like, dude, if you just ate some fucking cheese, you shouldn't be off in somebody's fucking face. Get that stanky shit up my face. Like, literally, when I say it'd be different, okay, if I'm like sitting here and he's like, sitting at a good distance and we're talking and, building intimacy, but he's all in my face and you have alcohol and just the, I don't know what went on my mind, you guys. This is what's on my mind. Because he kept asking, was like, so what's on your mind? What are you thinking, me? And I told him positive things. I feel like a person, when they ask you the truth, a lot of times they cannot handle the truth. So I know he would not have been able to handle me speaking how I'm talking to you guys right now. I don't think he would have been able to handle the truth, So I told him, I said, well, I think that you are a nice guy, that you can be dominant, but you're afraid to express it because you're afraid of the repercussions, and you're afraid of hurting me or, doing something that could jeopardize our relationship. So I get that. What I really want to say is, dude, your breath is kicking and you are a little bit too close to me and you are hypersexualized. Like I told him that too. I actually told him, because he asked me, I was like, so what do you think? I say, I can tell that you're horny. He was like, how do you can tell that I'm horny? I said, I can see it in your eyes. I can look in your eyes and tell that you want to have sex with me. Just by looking at your eyes. Not even looking at his body, looking at his eyes. And he was like, wow, that is freaking good. I was like, dude, your eyes, you look so desperate. You look desperate for sex right now, Yeah, he laughed and he kind of got embarrassed when I said that. I'm like, I can tell, like, your ass is horny, and then just think about it. I mean, come on, don't take a genius. You've been drinking. I know that you're attracted to me physically, and, you've been kind of touching me here and there all night, and I'm not stupid, like I say. It'd be different if I was, like, in my teens or my 20s, but, dude, I'm in my 30s. I'm a pretty educated woman. So I know what it means when a guy, there's nothing wrong with it, I guess, right? Like, a guy can do this innocently where he touches a woman. But I know what those touches mean. Especially when you do it like at the beginning of the night. You're trying to set the stage for something later. You're trying to soften me up. I am not stupid, dude. You're trying to soften me up. That's the whole point of the alcohol, the wine. You're being like extra nice to me. And, he's like rubbing my leg. Trying to soften me up. I get it. And then he's asking me for kisses. He's going in for kisses. It's like, give me a kiss. I gave him a kiss already. He's like, give me another one. Give me another one. He's just like all over me. I'm like, dude, I think I have to stop this. I'm like, I kind of, after I gave him a kiss, I kind of like put my hands up a little bit. Just kind of push back. And I'm like, okay, this is a little bit too much for me, but I'm not having sex, number one, with somebody I don't know. Like, I feel like a person, in order for me to have sex with somebody, like, he has to invest into the relationship. Like, we don't know each other like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is all nice, what I see around me. You're a multi-million-dollar home. That's cool and all, But I'm like, dude, you ain't investing in this relationship. Like, we're just getting to know each other. We're just building something. So just dial it back a little bit. Slow your little nerves a little bit. Calm down, because we ain't there yet. And I can see that he just want to jump right on in there. And I'm just like, It ain't happening here. And I think that's another turnoff for me, too, in relationships where guys just take it upon themselves to assume that just because a person is into BDSM, they think sex. Automatically, they're like, oh, this person is a sexual being. And I'm like, okay, I could be a sexual being, but I'm also a smart, wise human being too. I don't just jump into sex with anybody. If that was the case, I would have been had sex. Like, me and my ex, we been broke up. You get what I'm saying? I've been single for several months now. I would have been got me some action. I ain't had no action. I've been chilling. I've been focused on school and work, you guys. And I figure, okay, I'll make some time for a relationship because I know my clock is ticking. And eventually, yes, I do want to build something with someone that is serious and long-term and that leads to marriage and a family and kids, So I take all that into consideration, knowing what I want in terms of long-term goals and seeing if the person that I'm talking to, like, how are they moving? Are they moving in a way that reassures me that this person is trying to invest in something that's going to be long-term? Or is this person moving in a way that they're just trying to get their needs met in the moment? And I kind of got that sense from him. Like, I got that sense that, okay, he's just trying to get his needs met in the moment. And he's horny as fuck. I mean, it ain't no freaking, it's no mystery to that. It's not a fucking mystery, complicated puzzle. I mean, it's just common sense, right? So, I mean, overall, I think it was cool hanging out with him and watching the Oscars and, going up there in the hills and no reception at all up there. It's crazy up there, y'all. But it's nice views. I'm just like, I'm still trying to place him. Like, is this my kind of guy? I don't know. So far, I told him so far, so good, because I think I'm just trying to be nice. But maybe I should just tell him. I think I'm going to tell him, because he's probably going to see this video anyway. So I'm going to have to tell him the truth and tell him, like, dude, there's some things that just turn me the freak off. And I think the biggest thing, really, is just the fact that he's not dominant. Like, men don't get it. I don't understand what it means to be dominant. I feel like that's so sad. How do we live in a society? Like, it's sad to me. Let me see how long I've been talking to you guys. Oh my gosh, I have to end this because my break is getting ready to be over a little bit. But I'm like, how do we live in a society, y'all? Like, what happened to our society where we go from a society where we have men who were really dominant, who were manly men, to a society where most of the men are feminized and they're scared to just be men? Like, how are you afraid to just be a man and take control? Like, that's the shit I like. He's afraid, like, oh, I'm afraid of the repercussions. I'm afraid of how it's going to turn out. I'm like, dude, if you have a woman telling you that's what she likes, I mean, take a fucking risk, dude. Like, I took a risk to come over here. What the fuck? Okay. Text messages. But I took a risk to come to your place, or even to go on a date with you. I don't know your motherfucking ass. Like, anything can happen. So just get some balls, dude. That's all I'm saying. You can't make a man. That's the thing. A person, you can't change a person from who they are. They are who they are. So I'm thinking, from what I've seen, what I've gathered, from my observations, from the few times that we have spent, together, if I have not got an indication that his ass is dominant, and there's a difference between dominance and aggression. I think he's thinking in terms of aggression. I'm like, dude, I'm not asking for you to be aggressive towards me and to be like hitting on me no, you got the shit all wrong, right? I'm talking about a man who is assertive, who knows how to take the lead, like who is sure in himself. Because in order to, I think, be dominant and to be assertive, you have to have confidence in yourself. And I said that to him. He was like, well, it's not really confidence, but it's just making sure that the move that I make is not going to jeopardize anything. I'm like, dude, it's just taking risks. It could go either way, I feel like, yeah, that's something that you have to try out and see and take a risk, You'll never know how I'm going to respond. You may try to set a stipulation or a rule, and I may say I'm not following that rule, and that's something that you have to deal with. That's just a part of the relationship. But how we know unless you're willing to take that risk? Like, the kind of men that I like, the kind of man that I like a man who's not afraid to take risks, who's so confident in himself. Because I think that's a different kind of smartness. Like, he may be smart in his area, in his expertise in what he does in terms of the business investing. But I don't know, like, how does that translate over into relationships? You get what I'm saying? And being with a woman. Because it doesn't seem that. I think that's what it is. He keeps talking about how he's so smart. I'm like, dude, you might be successful in your professional work, but when it comes to the small nuances of a relationship with a woman, I don't think you are that smart. I don't think you're that smart. Because if you were, like, a lot of this shit is common sense. And I'm going to end this video because I know what I want to say. I'm glad I remembered this, because this reminds me, you guys, this is very much connected to my discussion about dating black men versus white men. What's the big difference? And it takes me back to the video that I made, right? And I felt like, even in the video when I made about dating black men versus white men, what's the big difference? I felt like I was more neutral, although people kind of felt that I was taking a side of white people to say that white men are better than black men. And that's not what I was saying. I feel like each has something to bring to the table, you know. And with respect to this situation with the guy I'm dating or talking to, whatever you want to call it, um, I'm like, he is dominant in his profession. No questions asked, right? He's dominant in terms of society, his standing in society, you know? Because, I mean, when you have money, money equals power. So I give him that. But I'm like, who is a real dominant, like, person, you know? Are white men, can white men really be dominant in a relationship? You know, because I feel like some men, and maybe it's just him, but you got black men, they ain't afraid to be dominant. You know, they're not afraid to assert their manhood over a woman. That's the kind of man I like. I mean, it's a very fine line. Some people misinterpret that as abuse. It's like, oh, that's him being abusive towards a woman because he is demeaning her. He's manhandling her. I'm like, no, if a woman gives you permission and she says this is what she likes, this is dynamic that she likes in a relationship, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if anything, like this video, like I said, this video is about turnoffs and pet peeves. If anything turns me the fuck off, it is a man who is unsure of himself. Like, you have to be so sure in yourself to know that what you say, when you say it to me, that it's going to impact me in a way that I'm going to listen, you know? And I think to get to that point, you first have to get to know a person. And I felt like this is it, you guys. This is another pet peeve I think I have with that, with him, and just men in general, I guess. Like, if you don't take the time to get to know a woman, how will you ever be able to know what she likes or doesn't like? So what move that you should make or you shouldn't make? Like, I feel like he hasn't really taken time to really get to know me as a person. He knows about me. He knows, like, I'm working towards a PhD. He knows, you know, my field that I work in. He knows I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. He knows certain things. He knows that I live in New York City. So he makes references to those things all the time. But I'm like, dude, do you really know me? And it takes time to build that level of trust and security with a person. You know, and so he's like, I remember before our night ended yesterday, he's like, well, what is it going to take? Like, how do I get to know you as a person? You know, and I'm thinking, dude, you expect to just know it right away. It's not going to happen overnight. There's a lot to me. I feel like there's so many layers to who I am as a person, not just me, but people in general. Like, you can never know a person overnight. He's just trying to get right to it. I'm like, what is a rush? The rush is your ass just want to fuck. That's how I interpret it. But it takes time, you know? And that also, to me, is a turn off when a guy rushes. I mean, unless you're rushing to put a ring on my finger, you're rushing to invest into the relationship, dude, don't rush me. Because all I interpret that as is that your ass just trying to get your fucking nuts off. That's it. And I can't be that for you. You know, there's a lot of hoes out here in Los Angeles, but I ain't one of them. I am not one of them. So keep going because it ain't going to happen here. But thank you guys for tuning in. I have to go. I have to end this video, and I enjoyed sharing that information with you guys because first of all, I enjoyed getting off my chest because I'm like, ugh. And I think not only that, but like I say, I'm in the dating phase, so it's not that I'm just talking to one guy. I mean, when you date, am I wrong for this? But when you date, you don't just talk to one person at a time. Like, you keep your options open, you know, you communicate with several people. At least that's how I'm doing it, you know. So I have this guy that I'm also talking to who lives in New York, and he works for the fire department in New York City. He's been with the fire department for like almost 10 years, and he has a stable career. Decent income, but even some things that he's doing is kind of turning me off. I'm like, dude, slow your freaking roll. Like, he's already asking me what my neck size is. He wants to buy me this freaking collar. And for you guys who don't know what that is, it's like something that the submissive wears to show her level of commitment to her dom, her level of submission. You know, it's like an outward symbol of her love, I guess. I'm like, dude, we don't even like know each other like that. Like, you already want me to wear fucking Basically, it's like putting a ring around my neck. You get what I'm saying? Like, dude, you're already trying to buy me. I don't know. But that's just where I'm at right now. And I thank you guys for listening. Feel free to comment below and share your thoughts on this topic. I know you guys and girls, women have pet peeves, so feel free to drop your pet peeves below. If you have any dating pet peeves, things that just piss you the freak off and just like make you cringe, just like, ugh, get away from me with your steak alcohol breath. All right. Sorry for offending you guys. I hope I did not offend anyone. I know some of you guys probably do drink alcohol, but that's just, hey, that's just a word to the wise. Like, dude, don't be up in people's face if you know your breath smelling like, whoa. All right, let me end this though. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you guys for watching and love you guys. Bye-bye.